after developers on their team made some really vile posts about Charlie Kirk, it looks like Battlefield 6 is the next game to have a pretty rough launch because now we're seeing not only these people making statements that are extremely controversial, but to top all of that off, their social media managers have gone over to the Battlefield 6 Steam forums and are locking down any threads and banning people who are saying they canceled their pre-orders and they want refunds because this is unacceptable behavior. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, we've always known that there are a lot of activists within the video game industry, and they're people that really hate gamers' guts, but over the past couple of days, we have really seen that amplified, and honestly, I'm not that bothered by it, and I say that because I am perfectly fine with these people taking their masks off and showing us who they really are because it just makes it so much easier to ignore their products and to not support them in the future and really to call them out every single time they do something controversial. But unfortunately, that also means that games that looked like they were going to come out and be really good have to be ignored now. It's like with Ghost of Yotei. I know that there were still people out there who were saying maybe this game itself will actually be half decent. I know I was on that bandwagon for a long time saying, I'm still going to play it, even though I don't like Erika Ishii, and even though I'm very skeptical, because I thought the first game was so good. Well, the second game can't be that much worse, but at this point, I have no excitement, no interest, it's over, and Battlefield 6 is another game that so many of us were looking forward to. It looked like it actually was going to rival Call of Duty this year. Maybe Activision Blizzard was going to feel a little bit of the sting, and they were not going to make as much money potentially, but now there are going to be people who are going to boycott this game because of the controversial statements made by their developers, which I totally and completely understand why people would not want to support it at this point. And to make it even worse, not only is this person now making these statements, but one of their social media managers or whoever runs their Steam forums are locking down any threads discussing this situation, so they're silencing people. So this was a screenshot from Smash JT. Brian Audette said some ideologies are so repugnant that they don't deserve debate. And what Charlie Kirk engaged in was not in good faith. It was inflammatory rhetoric designed to foment the kind of violence that took his life. Spare us your center-right pandering governor, responding to Gavin Newsom's post about it, which I think is so funny to see all of these people basically eating themselves alive. They are not united at all whatsoever, which really highlights the problem we are seeing not just across the world, but especially in the United States of America right now. We are so divided and it is so sad to see. And sure, I do think that part of that is politicians, right, who thrive off divide. That also is the fact that we are having to see so many mentally ill people take to social media and continue to divide people, and they're not getting the help that they really need. I think that it's a kind of plethora of issues, but we are seeing so much of a divide right now, and I did think that it was funny. Somebody who would generally agree with Gavin is now attacking him, but this person, Brian Audette, a game designer, is really just again highlighting such a major problem we are seeing in the video game industry right now. If you are not 100% aligned with these people, they will attack you, they will belittle you, they will try to silence you. They cannot accept the fact that human beings are not always going to agree on everything. I'm sure there's plenty of people in my audience who don't always agree with me. We wouldn't always agree with each other, and that's perfectly fine because we don't have to agree 100% on everything. Now, you'd think the one thing that human beings could agree on is that murder is bad and death is bad, but not in this case, because so many people like Brian are laughing at the fact that this happened and saying he got what he deserved, which of course is absolutely disgusting. He's not viewing Charlie Kirk as a human being. He's only viewing him as a political commentator, and they can't put their politics aside for 5 minutes to actually see see, wow, it's pretty bad that a commentator got assassinated over his opinions, but he's basically sitting here saying because he did not engage in good faith conversation and debate, he deserved to die, which is so far from the truth. It's a mind-boggling. Charlie Kirk was actually a pretty moderate guy. I mean, even look at the way that he talked about Erica Kirk. He said, I'm a moderate compared to her. And now that she's, running Turning Point, it's going to be fascinating to see the approach that she takes. But he did argue in good faith. He did debate in good faith. He was a pretty decent guy. I mean, again, I don't agree 100% on everything that he ever said or did, but I would never sit here and laugh at the fact that somebody was killed over their opinions, and Brian Audette is, and boy, is he getting absolutely wrecked for it. And now he's costing his company money. Now, do I think that Battlefield 6 is going to be a major failure? No, probably not. Same way I don't think Yote is. Yote had a pretty moderate budget at $60 million. Or at least right around there. And there are a lot of people who don't pay attention to social media. There are a lot of people who don't pay attention to politics, and a lot of people that just don't care. But at the same time, they are going to make less money than they initially expected to. And what makes this situation even worse is the fact that gamers are being silenced over their opinions. Now, I had initially seen this post over on X saying you've been banned from the Battlefield 6 community hub. One of your devs on Blue Sky said Charlie's rhetoric led to the violence that took his life. Fire them, and they got banned. So I did a little bit of digging. And at first, it doesn't look like they're silencing anybody, right? On the main page, it's pretty tame, it's pretty calm, but then you actually start paying attention to the posts that are being locked down, and well, it speaks for itself. Canceled pre-order. I normally don't pre-order games. I also don't normally involve myself with forums either. I decided to in this instance, and in light of recent developments, I've canceled it. The order is already refunded within a few hours of requesting a refund. And then they explained how to get a refund, and we're not talking about anybody fighting. Nobody's saying absolutely vile things to each other. It's not an argument. It's not a war zone, but womp, womp, womp. The topic has been locked. Heading over to the next page. We have canceled my pre-order. Locked down. Was excited, but now it's on my non-binary list. Locked down. Just removed it from my wish list. Locked down. Anyone still buying this game? So anytime you take to the forum and you talk about how you're upset with Brian's opinion and you're upset with the way that he voiced his hatred for conservatives, you are met with a ban and a block, which is absolutely terrible because we should be allowed to criticize one of these companies. And I think it is hilarious that the left has been crying for days. Jimmy Kimmel got canceled. Cancel culture is awful. This is disgusting and it's a violation of his freedom of speech. What about us? Huh? How is this fair? How is this okay? You can't claim in one instance to say you want to protect people's rights and then in another say, oh, it's okay to silence people that I don't agree with. And there are tons of threads exactly like this, which is just really sad to see happening because people were excited for BF6 and it did look like a really good game. I played the beta and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And now it is very hard to separate the art from the artist. Honestly, it's basically impossible at this point, especially when we're talking about people who want you dead and who have no general respect for you as a human being. And we know that there are going to be more people on these development teams who share this opinion. Just because a handful were vocal on the Battlefield 6 team or on the Yote team, it doesn't mean that they all were vocal. The rest are just smart about voicing their hatred. They are silent unless it's probably in a group chat where they know that they're protected. They know they're not going to get reported. They know that they can't lose their job over it. And they are not going to voice that take on social media for the world to see because they don't want people to not purchase their products. And with Yote, I know that Drew got fired and I know the boss put out an apology, which really wasn't even an apology. I did another video on that will be linked down below. But we know that there were other people on the Yote team who liked it, who reposted it, who shared that opinion, and those people didn't get fired. So you're still ultimately supporting these types of vile individuals. So I'll be keeping my eye on the Battlefield 6 situation. I'm curious to see if Brian makes any other statements or offers any other words on the topic, or even issues an apology. But right now they are silencing gamers over on the Steam forums who are saying, I'm going to pre-order and I just don't want to monetarily support a company that has developers that celebrate the death of another human being. And it seems that this is another game that is going to face major controversy really only a couple of weeks before release. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.